Hi, welcome back to Fresh Faces, New Ideas. My name's David. If you're new to this channel or you like this channel and want to keep it up to date with all the things I do, please like and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter at Faces Ideas. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about Liz Cheney. Now, I'm sure you, like me, are tired of seeing this story on every, real channel but Fox News. Look, this idea that there's a civil war within the party, the Republican Party, is a myth. There is no civil war. The Trump faction has won. They won. The base is with Donald Trump. That's why their number one issue is cancel culture. They believe that 70% of them believe that the election was stolen. He's still the top choice for them in 2024. That's why McCarthy, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's crazy, but all of them go down to Mar-a-Lago. That's why they keep bringing him up. That's why he keeps going on Fox. That's why these things happen. It's because Donald Trump is in control of the party. That's why the reason we know this is because the over and over again during the 2018 and the 2020 election, people could not go up against Donald Trump. They could not say things. Like, candidates could not say things against Donald Trump. They had to back whatever crazy things he was saying because otherwise the base would not vote for them. There's always the fear of being primaried by somebody further to the right, somebody further in Donald Trump's pocket. That was the fear. So when Donald Trump was impeached for the second time, after he insinuated a riot, or he started a riot, and then, he pushed them, he riled them up, and they went in and attacked the Capitol, Liz Cheney, along with 9 other Republicans, voted to impeach him, which was the right call. And that's why Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney. Now, keep in mind who Mitt Romney is. Mitt Romney is Republican. He was the 2012 standard bearer. He was their presidential nominee. In 2012, the Republicans decided this was the guy who was going to lead our party. And then when he lost, they did an autopsy. There was that famous autopsy of the Republican Party. And then Donald Trump came along and blew all that up. So that's who Mitt Romney was. So he's the senator from Utah, and he gets booed in Utah. Mitt Romney's not a rhino or like a left-wing radical or some type of weird centrist who flip-flops on ideas. He's not even Susan Collins, who pretends to be centrist and then votes with the right wing all the time, or Lisa Murkowski, who actually does occasionally vote the correct way. Mitt Romney is a Republican through and through. Liz Cheney. Let's talk about who Liz Cheney is. Her father, Dick Cheney, led us into a war we're still not getting out of because he wanted to. And there was no proof of it. He just lied us away into a war. Liz Cheney went out and said that her sister should not be allowed to be married. Remember, in 2004, when George Bush was running for office again, one of the things he was pushing for was to get a constitutional amendment to block gay people from being married, while Dick Cheney's daughter is a lesbian. So this is who Liz Cheney is. Liz Cheney is as Republican as they come. In the same way that you have the Kennedys and the Clintons on the Democratic side, you have the Bushes and you have the Cheneys on the Republican side, right? These are like their pillar dynasties. And now she's going to lose her position as the number 3 in the House of Representatives. Why? Because she's suddenly decided that to raise the taxes on the wealthy, or to support the Green New Deal or Medicare for all, or to vote with Joe Biden on his family plan, or to, God forbid, she voted for the liberal wish list that was the American Rescue Plan. No. Liz Cheney is going to lose her position because she decided to tell the truth. This is inexplicable. This is undeniable. The reason Liz Cheney has lost the faith of McCarthy, because he got caught on a hot mic saying, I'm done with her, and the rest of the Republican Party, is because when it came down to decide whether or not their party stands for truth or lies, Liz Cheney said, I stand for truth. I believe that the 2020 election was fairly done, that Joe Biden is the rightful president, and that anything else to say about that is a lie, which is true. If you look at all of the data and the fact that the Trump administration lost 60 court cases, besides what kind of bonkers alternate reality garbage they have going on down in Arizona, or whatever the hell is happening there with that craziness, you will see that the 2020 election was, according to the Trump Homeland Security, the most secure election in history. And as I've talked about over and over again, the idea that there's voter fraud to change this election is so absurd. They looked high and low. They found about maybe 5 cases, and I think I'm stretching it. 2 of those cases we might have to talk about. One was a woman who was she didn't realize that she couldn't vote because she was a registered felon. And then she got 5 years for voting for that. Then, in Pennsylvania, this was in Texas. In Pennsylvania, there was a Trump supporter who registered his dead mother on purpose to vote for Trump because he said this, and he pled guilty to this. I needed to do this to balance the scale so the Democrats wouldn't cheat. He purposely did this, and he got 5 years probation. So there are cases of voter fraud. They are minuscule. It is essentially non-existent. For voter fraud to have happened, to have flipped this election, you would have needed somewhere between 40,000 and 7 million votes. That is 40,000 times to 7 million times more voter fraud than has actually happened. There have been 1,000 cases of voter fraud since in like the last 30 years total, across like 1 billion votes. Now, this is indisputable. So to replace Liz Cheney, we're going to talk about the woman who's going to replace her, is Elise Stefanik. So who is Stefanik? Stefanik gained fame basically by being one of the people to defend Donald Trump during his first impeachment. She was with the Jim Jordans and the Jim Jeffries and the other crazy people for there pushing back against it. She was one of his defenders. She also, pushed for the big lie. She got, Harvard revoked her scholarship or whatever it was. And then she said, oh, they're, this big left-wing ivory tower. Like, you went there. It doesn't make it left-wing because now they're against you. Anyway, but here's the thing. When you look at their conservative ratings, Stefanik is at 44% compared to Liz Cheney, who's at 78%. And the Heritage Foundation give her 48 versus 80. I mean, Liz Cheney is as Republican as they come. Even Stefanik voted for the Equality Act in 2019. Now, I've talked about this with Joe Manchin. When you vote for a bill that will not pass, and then it has the ability to pass, and you don't vote for it, your first vote doesn't count. Why doesn't it count? Because it's a symbolic vote. You're putting your name on something that you know is popular, but because of the way our government works, will not pass. So let's be clear about what's happening here. Part of the reason Stefanik is going to replace Liz Cheney is because Liz Cheney is the highest ranking woman in the House. And that currently stands, the Republican Party does not have a lot of women, and it does not have a lot of African American people. Just in general, the Senate does not have a lot of African American people. So Raphael Warnock won in the 2020 runoff. Raphael Warnock is the 11th African American senator in the history of the country. The 11th. Tim Scott is the only African American senator for the Republicans. So the part of the reason Stefanik is going to win is because there would absolutely be blowback if they replaced Liz Cheney with a man. Absolutely. There would be less blowback if they replace it with Stefanik. They'll say, oh, she's lost the focus of the people, the confidence of the people, but we really need take back the House. Look, there's a good chance the Democrats lose the House just because of redistricting alone. So, thank you, Joe Manchin, for killing HR1 and SR1 because you're afraid that holding people accountable and having actual fair elections would be bad and cause another insurrection. And let's be clear. When I say have a fair election, I'm referring to ungerrymandered districts, and I'm referring to corporate and dark money being being cut out of the deal. That's part of what HR and SR1 does. So let's wrap this up. Look, this is not a question. There is no civil war. The Republican Party is the party of Trump. They are currently deciding how far into the party of lies they want to be. There is a reason they don't push back on policies and argue about the actual metrics of these policies, because a lot of the times these policies are popular. They're going to go with grievances. Liz Cheney is going to lose her job as the number 3 Republican in the House because she refused to go along with the big lie. And not the big lie that Trump called it, where it is the election is considered the big lie. The big lie that the election was stolen. So please like and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter @FacesIdeas, and I will see you in the next one.